All right, welcome back, everybody. This is COGS Musings. I'm Dr. Brad Robinson. I'm here with Dr. Mike Martin and Dr. Terrence McCullough. We're here via Zoom and ready to share. Uh,
Yeah, we haven't been here in a couple of weeks, but
yeah,
we did something pretty fun while we were gone, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a
absolutely.
great adventure. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. We all flew down to Sherman College of Chiropractic in Spartanburg, and we were fortunate enough to speak twice while we were there. Thursday night to a club and fraternity, right? A lot of
right,
fraternity there. And then Friday during the club hour lunchtime to whoever showed up. So here's what
right,
I found interesting, right? And I'll toot our horn a little bit. It occurred to me that everybody that we spoke to Thursday night showed back up Friday.
right.
So whatever we had to say must have been interesting enough for them to come and listen to some more, huh?
Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd be curious from maybe Patrick. I don't know how many other things were going on at that time. Like what, since we had, say, 15 people both, right, approximately,
Yeah.
who comes that draws a bigger group, right? Or what are the students looking for?
Yeah.
Because certainly the 15 that were there, I think, got some questions answered both about uh, philosophy, business, um, energy,
Yeah.
those sorts of things. And they asked, I was impressed. They asked very good questions, very thoughtful. Um, but I think there's always the question I have is how do you get more people
Yeah,
interested in
right.
it? Because I went in when we got on campus, Mike, I thought, oh wow, these kids seemed more mature or ready than I felt I was. And by the time I left, I was like, nope, they need a lot of help.
Hmm.
Um, and I guess do they know it? Do they know that they need a lot of help or not? I think is the question.
Well, that is an interesting question, you're right? And I don't know that I can answer it unless we spend more time there. We did get most of the students we talked to were in sixth quarter or above, right?
Right.
For the one young lady. So we did get a more mature audience as far as their, length of time at Sherman. Do they know that they don't know? I think that answers the question.
Mhm.
I don't think,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
my experience with Sam coming out of school and having a few peak students over the last couple years and interviewing potential associates, they're not getting it. They have to do a lot of re-education once
And
they get out of school.
I'll say this, I believe that the Sherman students are farther along than um, students that I've met from other chiropractic colleges.
Right.
They have more of a they have more of a grasp and understanding of what chiropractic is. They certainly get a little more philosophy than most. I think that they're ready to be chiropractors instead of something other than that.
That's a
Um,
good point. I
you
agree with
know,
that.
I got that sense. So in that sense, I think they're headed more in the right direction. Um,
What kind of feedback did you get from Patrick? Any?
Patrick said they can't wait for us to come back. At least the fraternity guys. They felt like the information they got from us was pertinent, as opposed to what they hear from other, more nationally known guys. I don't know. I think I could be speculating, but I think a lot of the guys that draw bigger crowds have a different agenda than we did.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Sure, they're selling their system. They're selling their
Yeah,
programs.
yeah, yeah. Or, maybe they don't even have a program, they're just selling themselves. Uh,
Right.
they're maybe they're getting speaking fees at other places. I don't know. Um, to Taryn's question, how do we get more people in the room? Something we'll have to ask and explore, right?
Right.
You know, we are just three guys that have a lot to offer, but don't have any real global recognition.
Yeah,
So, huh? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, how do we get that? I was thinking about while we were there, what didn't we do in order to create a situation that when we come back, people recognize us? We didn't do anything.
Right.
We took a couple of pictures, right? We should have taken more pictures. We should have, so that we had something to promote, something to put out there, something to show that we were there and what we did, right? There's like no video. It's not even a picture of me standing up in front of anybody. I got one of each one of you. There's no video.
Right.
We didn't do anything. We did a lot. Don't get me wrong. We said a lot. There was a lot of good content. We didn't do anything to promote the three of us, you know?
So
I
next
think,
time we're there, we make sure we videotape the presentations and the Q&A session. I think that,
Yeah. Yep. And I
and
didn't.
I think we also should ask them to submit questions before we get there.
I
I think
mean,
we have a date, if we pick out a date 6 months, a year from now, whatever we do, is
we could think about that. Yeah.
that we say, hey, formulate questions, submit them to us so that we can be better prepared to give you the answers that you're looking for and get them thinking about questions that they would want to ask too.
Sure. Right. Well, okay. You're looking at it from that sense. Yeah, I agree with you.
right.
I don't need them to submit questions to me so I have an answer prepared.
No, I want
No.
them to think
Yeah.
about what they want to
Yes.
know.
They think about what they want to know. And,
Correct.
and it might guide us to tailor our what we're going to say to some of the questions they already have,
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
you know? Um,
And the pictures you do have and the feedback, we need to make sure we put it on the website.
I did.
You
I put
did?
it on the Facebook page already.
Okay,
And
good.
there's really not much on our Instagram page because everything we do is so long that it won't hold it. But I did put the pictures up there. Um, I think on my end, I failed to leverage the contacts and the friendships that I have there to get those guys to promote us a little bit or to show up. But I'll do that next time. You know, I did send those guys each a little note thanking them for their hospitality. So.
Good. Thank
And
you.
I wonder if we reach out to Beth and Chris Alick
Yeah, well, Chris
and
doesn't have much anything to do with the school
well,
anymore, but Beth does.
Beth
Yeah, maybe. Um,
and promote that through her
yeah,
amongst other faculty members.
I sent her a message through Brian after the fact, which again, it's failure on. We're just not promoters, of ourselves,
Well, we're still
right?
learning too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I look at self promoters, and I know some, and have some friends that are some, and I think, geez, I don't do any of that. Um, Got to get better at that, I guess.
Guess
So.
TikTok videos, here we come.
Yeah, yeah, right. I don't know. Um, yeah. Anyway,
It's
How's
a
your
tough one
dancing?
because, yeah, it's very tough because I mock all the self promoters all the time.
I
So,
know.
um,
Got to be a good way to do it, though.
correct.
You know?
We promote that we're not promoters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
look
you
at
had,
some of the stuff that Joe Dispenza does, and he's not a self-promoter, but he does get some stuff out there. But he could be a lot bigger than he is if he did it a little bit better, but maybe he doesn't,
He's huge though. Joe Dispenza. I
I
mean,
don't
he's
know.
got
He
he's
is
got some
huge.
chops.
He is huge, but his media presence is less than everybody's. You sometimes you have to go looking for him.
yeah,
you know?
it goes in
Yeah.
spurts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so takeaways, right? Um, Aside from that, we dropped the ball on the promotion. The good takeaways. Um, I don't know.
Well, I think the thing you could ask for maybe from Patrick is if he would take his camera and ask for just a minute testimonial from any of
Great
his
question.
people that were there. And then maybe they could even say, and here's the questions we didn't get answered. So next time, that sort of thing.
I'm going to do that today. I will do
Yeah.
that today. I'll give him a call. I owe him a call anyway. So yeah, I will do that today. Positive takeaways for me on a personal note is yeah, I was I got a little excited about talking and to some principled young men and women. You know, some people that have their heads on straight that are going to get out and practice. At least it seems from my interaction with them, practice the what I consider the right way. You know, I felt good about that. Um, excitement, a little bit of excitement. You know, um, I felt really, really good about what you guys shared about how open and honest and uh, even to the point of bluntness. You know, I thought it was good. You know. How often do these students get to hear from high volume, principled, wealthy, 360-degree chiropractors? You know,
Apparently not often enough or not at all. Right.
apparently not often enough. Right. Yeah.
Well, and mine was, well, first, be clear. I thought, Mike, you really put your heart out there from the standpoint of you, that from, like you said, a lease to a location to signage, building to the scripting to, all the layers of
Yeah.
practice and your availability for that. Brad, you consistently deliver on the philosophy and the importance of, understanding it and how that can should be such a big part of your purpose, and you gave them some substance as the places they should go, like the Simon Sinek book and that sort of stuff, where they can go to get to work on that. Um, as Mike said, I try to be animated in my share on both days, and uh, I think the other thing was, like I said, it was tough for me because just going around campus, it all the closed doors.
Yeah. Right.
But I would just be curious to you know go in classes, right, and literally listen to what they're being exposed to, whether that's technique, and probably should have, like when we went in the adjusting room before and those couple students were adjusting, we probably should have had a conversation. What are you working on? What are you thinking
Mm,
about?
mm, mm.
What quarter are you, though, just like spending a day and having that opportunity to, I don't know, I'm still interested in what they're learning and
Yeah.
how it
Mhm.
applies to chiropractic. Are they making that link in every class of why that's important? And then, the classic thing of, for the students of, well, why am I sitting in this biochem class, or why am I sitting in um, and seeing where their head is, academically, right along the way. That's the other part. I'm just interested also in that part, that we really didn't have that uh, freedom, right, to move around and quietly enter a class and you're like, oh, this, oh, I'm just here to listen, and blend in, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's where you really get to find out what's going on, I think, sometimes, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think if we ask ahead of time, there are going to be certain instructors, professors that will allow us to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know that anybody's going to be comfortable with just three guys walking and standing in the back there.
correct. No, I
But
agree. Yeah,
I'm sure that I can think of at least two instructors that allow us to do that.
yeah. I think
And
that'd be also be helpful
yeah,
for us with our whatever, what we want to share.
it'll be
Uh,
helpful with our content. Yeah, no
yep,
question about it.
yep.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a
You,
great
you
idea. I think as the more times we're on campus, then they'll be comfortable that we're not a security risk and that we provide something substantive for the students. I think that would help.
Yeah.
And that was our first time there. It's like building a practice. You start where you're
Right,
at and move forward.
right.
Yeah,
So you gotta,
I think from the teacher's point of view, they don't want us to negate what they're saying. And I actually have, mixed feelings about that because if I were a teacher, I'd want to hear the opposite side so that I could argue my side. But, when you got a classroom full of kids, that's you want to remain the authority. You don't want to get, bucked a little bit. So
correct.
I
And I
think we
hate to
did a really
say
good
it,
job. We didn't do that at all. So
I
No,
really hate to say it too, but that all the schools are required to teach CCE
I know. Yeah.
curriculum. So they're kind of limited on what they can teach. So that's prescribed for them to do that. Now
Yeah.
they can
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
alter it to fit the chiropractic perspective,
Yeah.
but it's still a
That's tough.
medically dominated curriculum.
I know. I know.
well, I think it's what you say all the time, Brad. It's like when they whatever they teach, even if it's for that purpose, there should be a why. They should
Mhm.
have five
Yes.
minutes at the end or five
Right.
minutes in the middle of this is why this is important for the boards. Here's why it's important for practice, or that and that
Yeah.
takes courage on an instructor's part because right, you have to think
Yeah.
and you have to find make sure, and for them they have to make sure they're not like you said, stepping outside the boundaries of what the school is supposed to do. I understand they're pretty tightly regulated, right? That they're
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. You have to get a license in order to do the right thing afterwards, right?
Mhm.
right.
Got to play the game. It's unfortunate that the game is getting skewed so much. Hopefully, with a little bit of the shakeups that's happening, it can come back around, but I don't know. Kind of hard to see that future right now.
It
But,
is. It is because we're still so broken up in factions,
oh,
right?
and
There's still
and it's
such
just
small groups.
yeah, and it's just gotten worse, right? So I don't
Yeah.
know that I completely understand that situation yet, but who does, right? So
Well, I think it's a little bit reflected though in the some of the questions with the students in that um, and maybe how we framed it too that you know I think in our time that there was a lot of talk about miracles and changing the world and uh, you know many of the questions were or a few of them like well how do I build my brand and uh, how do I
right,
get and those things are important but if it's like Brad you said if it comes from a philosophy and a purpose of making a change in the world through our hands through the our science philosophy science and art going that way. I think that's still where the trend is, right? It's because of Instagram, what's my brand? Um,
right,
and new patients are important, and that sort of thing. But as opposed to that bigger mission and vision and purpose, which was sort of instilled in us, Mike, from your uncle.
mhm,
And then you got to give Sid Williams credit, that he was talking that up to you guys all the time, right?
all the time,
Every week, right? I mean,
every
and
every Thursday or every other Thursday,
you
So
know,
no, it was every Thursday.
every Thursday.
yeah. So even if
Try.
you,
Maybe I
even
try
if
to
you,
block some of that out.
yeah, even if you were trying not to listen, you had to hear it. And for myself, even at National, we had Dr. Jancy would just walk around and walk into your class and start to talk about mission and purpose and why
Hmm.
you were there and why
Hmm.
education, maybe not
Hmm.
the same as Sid, but you still had some sort of chiropractic coming at you. And even then, even though, again, National was very, whatever it was, mixer or medical, it still was chiropractic was the forefront of it. It wasn't,
Right.
you know, even though if they were trying to do a medical exam, I'll even say that they were doing it that you're going to end up at an adjustment.
Hmm.
They
Right.
might get all this stuff, blood work, everything, but it
Right.
was going to end up at an adjustment and an
Mhm.
alternative system to medicine. And I think that's still the where the leadership has dropped the ball. Not enough talk about that. That's miracle. I'll just say miracles and mission and
Right.
hope. I was thinking about that the other day. That's what I think chiropractic used to be the profession to get hopeless cases, right? We were famous for that.
Yeah.
Uh, and we're not doing a good enough job at giving patients hope. I mean, I think all three of us did that. It was like just that phrase, I can help you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and not giving
That
up
was a
and
big
not
Fred Barge thing too.
yeah, and not giving up, right?
Right.
Not
Right.
trying to do that in the context of what insurance covers. It's going to take a long time, it could take a year, 2 years, whatever. Not being, maybe being nervous about saying that, of course, when you're younger, but
Oh,
you
you're
know,
nervous about saying it because one, you either don't know it or you don't believe it, right?
You haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Once you experience it in practice, then it becomes easier to say. But
Yeah.
when you're
right.
coming right out of school and your head's
Yeah.
full of diagnoses and you're
Board
filled with
questions.
fear on that you're going to be audited, you're going to be sued, you're going to hurt somebody, when it's not it's not true at all. Or the likelihood is very small if you do the right thing. And if you experience it, it's easier to teach it. And it's just helping people do that. And right now, because the cost of education is so doggone expensive, that's one of the first things on my mind. How am I going to pay back my loans? How am I
Yeah.
going to live?
Well, it's funny, as you're saying that, Brad, I'm thinking we're talking about kids right out of school, but I can think of people that have been in practice for 15 years that still haven't experienced it and don't
Oh,
understand it, you know? And
Well,
for me, it does really come back to the philosophy. It really does. That's the point from where I work. I know I hear it all the time that, that we still have the science and the art. Yeah, and I get that, but the point in my spirit is always the philosophy. I mean, if you
but
don't,
remember, you had such, I mean, I think
I
all
know.
support, right? That when we were troubled or challenged for that first time, you had to say it. Then the
Yeah,
second time and the 10th time,
yeah,
whether you were successful or not in that patient, that you were able to pick up the phone and call Brad
yeah,
or your uncle or your
yeah,
cousin or whomever and say
yeah,
for myself, my dad, Pete, these guys,
yeah,
and you'd be like, oh, I failed or I didn't get it's gonna, and
yeah.
they would say to you, it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be
And
fine.
that, and that's how you, Brad, that's how you develop your courage and your conviction.
Hmm.
Because then you're like, okay, I got to go back and do it again.
right.
Uh,
Well,
and
yeah, you're working from a point of faith, right?
yeah,
Supported by support, mentors, whatever.
yeah, and then ultimately that gives you conviction, right? And
Yeah, it
then you
does.
start to build it
Yeah,
internally, and then you can manifest it more and more and more.
yeah. There's,
Uh,
there's,
but
there's got to be a point. There's got to be at least a baseline in you of faith. Like, I know this works. I know this works. I'm questioning it. Let's go talk to my buddies. If you didn't have that baseline of I know this works, you know,
right,
Well, that's why you have to fall back on your metaphysical constructs. That's why philosophy is so important because that is the basis for everything we do.
yeah, absolutely.
When you start talking epistemology and aesthetics, all that is built upon the metaphysical constructs that were outlined. I mean, that's why Sid dropped the keys
Yeah, I know.
not mundane, but as repetitive as that was, and people made fun of him. But it's the truth,
Yeah,
is that it
but
does work
yeah, yeah,
same
all
thing
the
though.
time.
You have to, philosophy is a great example of something you got to talk through with people
yeah.
over and over and over.
Hmm.
And that's right back to mentorship or father, friend,
Mm-hmm.
seminar leader,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Bedrock, man.
yeah, you read the book, but then go talk about it. And you
Make it
hear about
applicable.
you. Yep, yes, make it real.
Yep.
And I still think then if you, and we're lucky enough to have people just doing this, the science, right? That they'll say, oh, here's why the curve's important. Here's how the
Yep.
nervous system works.
Yep.
And it should be those aha moments of, oh wow, this is why principle number 7. I don't, whatever. Oh, that people start to put that together with you, and that's where the discussion should go, right? That it,
I agree.
um,
Well, that's why it's exciting to have people like Deed Harrison and Heidi Harvick out there doing the research that is validating the philosophical constructs. I mean, we go back to when we were in school, Renaissance program with Joe Felicia and Guy Reekman, talking about Ron Perot and Sue and Sharples.
Yep.
And I mean, all
My
those
goodness.
people who say there's no scientific evidence for vertebral subluxation just are limiting their what they look at, what evidence that they'll accept. If they're
Yeah,
only going to
right.
accept double-blind controlled trials as proof that chiropractic works is going to be very limiting. But if you go back to like to Pero's work and
Yep.
Sue's work, Gunn, I mean, that's why you got to surround yourself with that. That's why the neurology class helped you so much,
Yep.
Terrence, because it helped solidify mentally what you had learned philosophically. And that's where the epistemology comes in. And that's why your adjusting techniques and treatment protocols evolved through that. And that's what we're trying to get students to understand. And that if we can keep repeating that over and over again, hopefully they'll get through that, the 6 inches here.
Preach, brother, preach. I hear you.
Right.
Mhm.
No, repetition. You're right.
Yeah,
Right. That's true.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that one of your uncle's favorite sayings? Time, repetition, and effort. What it
absolutely.
takes?
Yep.
Time, repetition, and effort. Whether
Yep.
it's correcting a subluxation or improving someone's ability to think about chiropractic. So,
Yep.
and there are detractors out there. I mean, like I said, when there are chiropractic colleges out there that are promoting the idea, the concept that we need to stop using the term subluxation is so I don't know, it's offensive and it scares me because if we don't continue our lexicon and our reason for being, then we're not needed. We just become physical therapists at that time.
They take our language first, right?
Yes.
Right. No, yeah, your slide on that was incredible. Yep.
Yep. Yep. That's why I worry about not to get political, that's why I worry about the ICA falling apart here and the leadership of the ICA currently aligning themselves with the WFC, right? And
Yeah.
Well,
they
I
want to
had a
get rid of
conversation with
chiropractic.
Chris Alick about that. And we
Did
talked
you
about,
really?
yeah, we talked for about an hour. I called him
All
up
right.
after that. Oh my God. This is probably not the time for that.
Sorry.
But yeah, there's a lot of nuance to that.
Yeah,
So
I said earlier, I don't completely understand it all yet because, you talked to Chris. We're only able to glean from what we read in social media, right? So,
which
it,
there are self-promoters out there that are that
I
are
know,
that are guiding that narrative to a
I
Right.
certain
know, I know.
thought process. So
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Like I said in one of our texts, eventually, when the timing's right, I'll speak to some family members and see what they have to say.
actually, the
Yeah,
timing is right now,
uh,
Mike.
Yeah, okay. You know how I love to be political, Brad.
well, I think it's just what's going on, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
start with that. Because
See it
look at
first to
how they
understand.
got rid of people so quickly, right? It can change like that, right?
yeah, yeah. Hey, Brad, years ago, I would have run from this conversation,
I know.
So now I'm willing to wade in, right? So
Good. There's growth.
That's good.
I know.
maturity.
I jumped in early
Conviction.
because I
60.
I jumped in early in the whole
You
political
did.
thing simply because if someone's going to make decisions about my profession, I wanted my voice heard.
Yeah, and to
You know
some
me, I'm
degree,
not afraid to voice my opinion.
so yeah, right. And this is a cop out, but to some degree, knowing that you were doing it allowed me not to have to.
Well, that was the whole idea. You write the check.
I wrote the checks. Yep. Yep. And that's true till today, right?
Yep.
If you're not willing to put the time in, then write the check, right?
Right.
Pick the right
Well,
person and give them money to fight the good fight, right?
Mike,
You taught me that, and I agree with it. You know,
Mike, we made a mistake. And you just found out and shared it that we thought that was what we had with Don Hirsch.
Yeah,
and then you find out it's not true, right?
yeah.
Now you know it's not true, right? It's a whole nother game of for them it's politics and not passion. So um, that's how
There's a
we got
place
to.
for that, right? As long
Yeah,
as it represents what you stand for.
You got to pick and choose who you support,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
some people are supporting the mission. Like years ago when I was on the Representative Assembly, Deed Harrison came out, and that's when Don's book validating taking X-rays, because the whole idea was that you shouldn't take X-rays unless there's
right.
red flags. And they wrote a whole manual on why you should take X-rays in chiropractic practice and how they're not dangerous. Uh, and I looked at Deed and I said, Deed, you guys keep doing the research and we'll get that word out there.
yeah. Where's that? Where's that paper now?
Oh, it's sitting on the shelf somewhere.
Yeah,
I've got a copy of it actually.
yeah.
Because there's a big push to get X-ray out again,
Be
right?
interesting to
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah.
I know I've never read it. Be interesting to read it.
Let's see if I can
Hey,
get my hands
might
on it. I'll share it with you.
yeah, it might be something that we can put out on the Facebook page if it's still appropriate, right, or
Oh,
applicable.
absolutely.
Yep,
Of course
yep,
it is. Of course it
yeah.
is.
Dig for it. So cool.
Well, that's probably an important thing when we get back to Sherman the next time is really talk about, exam, X-ray, what
Right.
you do. Like you said, Mike, you're very good at the philosophical aspect of procedure, right?
Right.
Of an exam, of X-ray, of how that ties together with with the art and the application,
Yeah.
right? Certainly, um, that
I felt
aspect.
like yeah, I felt like the time limitation that we had was if we could get a little bit more time
Yep.
And I think
or
that'll grow too. I think
yeah,
as
or
our
even if
face
we
is
can
on
get
campus more and we're doing more work, that'll grow.
yeah,
The time they'll give
yeah,
us more time.
yeah. Or more frequency, right? Like we just
Right.
talked about. And that way each one of us gets the full 45 minutes or whatever it is, you know?
Well, or even like being in a classroom with adjusting tables and literally, Mike, you go and walking through. Here's why you do what you do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Taking some X-rays, of I always say take some bad ones in and say, what are you going to do with this one?
Hmm. And I would love to talk to some of these kids, not all of them are kids, about not so much the technique is the what's the word? Ergodynamics. I don't know why.
Ergonomics.
Yeah,
Ergonomics.
ergonomics
Mhm.
of high volume. You can't get up on somebody like that 200 times a day.
Right,
You've got to, you know, get your body closer, get your center of gravity lower so that you don't hurt yourself, right?
right.
I get it. The technique is great. The technique that they're teaching is phenomenal. But how about if you just do this, right? And you'll save a shoulder, you'll save a neck, you'll save a low back, you know? Done a
Yep.
lot of that through the years coaching uh,
No,
How
people.
that's
many of our colleagues have had to quit practice because they hurt themselves? They
I
couldn't
could probably
handle it.
name 5 or 6 people I've coached that as soon as they started seeing volume, shoulders were going or their
Mhm.
low backs were going. And we'd literally spend a half an hour and then, the following week they were like, all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world, you
good.
know.
Good
So
stuff.
listen, I came across this. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. Little promotional error. Have you seen? Well, it's not even focusing on it. Is it focusing on it? Wow, that's wild. There we go.
There
It's
it is.
it
There it
says
is.
33 gold.
Right.
It's the 33 principles, and it's like 33 different principled chiropractors giving their spin on each one of the principles, and then a story after it
Oh,
about how
wow.
it's applicable. I'm only on the fourth principle, and well, you can't see the highlighter marks in there, but I got you each a copy. But I think it's a significant, uh, the first significant read chiropractically that I've seen in a long time. So
Oh,
I already got them,
thanks,
so
Mike.
they're in the mail. I'll have them into the mail to you guys. But
Cool.
good stuff.
I look forward to it. I look forward.
Yeah, it's nice to get some good chiropractic. It look, this is I don't know what I want to say. I think I already said it. This is what we need to work from, right?
Right.
Everything moves forward.
And maybe what we could consider doing is aligning ourselves with uh, trying to seek out other principal chiropractors that we can align with and to promote this with and promote their work, uh, kind of do cooperative stuff. Again,
Yeah.
many years ago when I was involved with the ICA, we're talking 25 years ago, I wanted to put together a subluxation summit because subluxation was already being threatened at that time. I wanted to bring together researchers and technique masters, even chiropractic management groups to come together to develop a specific treatise on why subluxation is still relevant in
Yeah.
chiropractic practice. And I never got any traction with it, but it might be something to think about revisiting at this point in time
Yeah.
and aligning
Well, it's
ourselves with people
interesting.
out there that do that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know the guy that wrote this book. I mean, I never heard his name before. His name is Dr. David Serio.
Hmm.
I don't know him.
Right.
Incredibly principled, and you would think in all these 40 years that we want to run across this gentleman. And then I'm looking at the other doctors that in here are writing some solid principled stuff. And I mean, I just don't know
Well,
him.
maybe it's time to reach out to them and bring them on to
Yeah.
this
So they,
platform
so
so that
they
we
run
can
in
make
a,
these connections and make
yeah,
these cooperative strategies and
yeah.
maybe we can
Yeah.
make some change.
Agreed.
To a degree that the three of us have had our head down building such large practices and practicing that there's probably other circles like us that have done the same thing that obviously they don't know who we are.
Right.
So
Well,
yeah, it might be interesting to reach out to this gentleman and see if he wants to join in a conversation.
my cousin David would always be willing to come on here. There's
Talk
a
about powerhouse, right?
there's a the philosophy professor at Life. Sam said would be a good person to bring on there. Maybe even a Heidi Harvick might be a fun thing to do is start expanding our reach
Yeah,
and
yeah,
try to bring these people on to again to create these alliances and work for the better good of the because that's what all we're here for is work for the betterment
yeah.
of chiropractic and chiropractic patients.
Terrence will have to talk to Dr. Heidi because I don't understand half of what she's saying sometimes. Yeah,
Just nod your head, Mike. Just nod your head.
that's it. I'm good at
Just
that.
nod your head.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. All right. So what do
All right.
we have 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Oh, good. So
Why don't you reach out to that guy that
I
wrote that
will.
book?
Serial, I will.
Reach out and see if he's interested
Yeah.
in jumping on with us.
Okay.
I wouldn't have a problem with it. I don't know about you guys.
No, I'll invite him to go and look at some of these calls and then see if he's willing to come and chat. We'll have to give him a platform for the book, but I'm happy to do that because more
Sure.
people need to read this. So
Absolutely.
Right.
yeah. All right, cool. So
Sounds good.
what do you want to leave everybody with?
Keep studying.
Get
Keep
involved.
learning.
Get involved.
Get involved. Get involved with listening to more of these calls, listen to other people's calls, talking to students, finding out what's going on politically and writing a check or getting involved.
Yeah. Ask questions. Reach out. Ask a
Yeah.
question to us. Right. Reach
Right.
out. Ask. Share this. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really more powerful to get conversations going.
Right.
Right. That's how you build your conviction and confidence by talking about it and having people, if you don't understand something or you're not sure how it applies, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would wish for all the students. Be like, yeah, I'm doing this. Why is this important? Or I'm struggling with this, or this all sounds like nonsense, whatever it might be, right?
Right.
Ask.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Conversations and ask questions.
Keep
There's
your
no
mind
silly
open.
question. Yeah.
Keep your mind open. Keep the
Yep.
faith.
Stay curious.
Stay curious. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, guys.
So are we in 2 weeks? Yeah.
Until
Two
next
weeks.
time.
All right, man. I love you guys. See you
Love
Love
you
you
again.
too.
too.
Bye, guys.
Bye
Thank
now.
you.